AITAH for calling my wife selfish for even considering taking a job across the country and trying to uproot our family? Posted by you/career v family. So, my wife was recently offered a job across the country, which requires relocation but also includes frequent travel obligations. My wife feels this would be a huge plus for her career, but the issue is we have 2 children, ages 5 and 8, and my practice is here. What she will earn is not even half of what I currently make. She is currently not working, so I told her that if she wants to take the job, she would have to help with childcare expenses, which would likely include a nanny, because I sometimes work nutty hours depending on whether I have a mandated hospital shift. She feels this is unfair because she would have to cover her own living expenses, and paying for childcare on top of that would leave her with very little. This job is not even providing a relocation bonus. She suggested we move, but everything we know is here. Our children have their friends here, and transferring my medical license is not all that simple. Her final suggestion is she takes the kids, I stay here, and I cover the cost of childcare and expenses, because she claims childcare and cost of living are cheaper. Just not cheap enough for her potential salary to sustain me being a stay-at-home parent. I want to support her, but her suggestions seem half-baked to me. Top/relevant comments. Commenter. Not the jerk, and it's a bit concerning for the state of your marriage that your wife suggested that you and she live in different parts of the country. I could be way off base, but if she's going from not working to suddenly wanting to move across the country with the kids for a career, it's possible she's getting her ducks in a row prior to asking for a separation. If she moved with the kids and then filed for divorce, it's possible you would have to give up your practice and move to where she is if you want to see your children. I don't know what kind of career your wife is looking to have, but I can't imagine there isn't another opportunity that's more geographically desirable. I would have a sit down with her and emphasize you want to support her, without ripping your family in half. Commenter 2. This sounds a lot like a quiet divorce. Living across the country from one another, she has custody of the kids, but you're still paying for most everything? I get if she's excited about a new job, but the decision needs to be made for the good of the entire family, not just her. If she's insistent on it, you have your answer. She's choosing this job over the family. Commenter 3. What are her long-term prospects if she stays locally? Ops response. What she wants to do is not great. She can leverage her engineering degree to work at a civil engineering firm doing consulting, but she did that before and she hated it. Her current offer would actually have her working on infrastructure and doing something with meaning. Commenter 4. You said your practice is where you currently live. Is it your business, or do you work for someone? Ops response. I have my own practice and also work and teach at our state learning hospital. I am the director of the Multiple Sclerosis Center and the director of the Neurology Residency Program. Update 3 days later. Brief update since I got some requests, not much has changed. I spoke with our kids, and of course they like it where we are, they are kids. The reason my wife wants to take this job is because she feels, due to the nature of how she got the offer, her old professor and mentor, and that she is also a female engineer, she understands her position. My wife is free to do what she pleases, she does not need my permission, but by no means can she expect us to uproot everything at the drop of a dime. I would never ask that of you. I did suggest she try to create her own firm here and find like-minded individuals who share a similar experience and create the work environment she wants. She is concerned she won't be able to break through that barrier of entry. I told her we could find a means to fund said venture, but the logistics of moving do not make sense at this time. I would need, at minimum, a year to get my affairs in order. Working on research, working on opening an infusion center near the hospital that would take every insurance. This is a big one for me since many of the infusion centers near us do not take certain insurances because they pay so little. Looking to possibly expand my MS clinic with more providers who are willing to do this labor of love for our community. I cannot just drop all of that. I did tell my wife I have no intention of stopping her, and if she wishes to go, that is fine, but I would not be sustaining 2 households. If she moves, she would be responsible for all costs associated with the move. I will cover our shared expenses and primary residence, and that is all. I will cover everything here, and she would be responsible for her own expenses. I told her I would probably also lower or get rid of the credit card since I know her, she would live off credit if she had to. I threw out the option that she could request to work from home 3 out of the 4 weeks she is not traveling, and we can take it slow. See what the housing market is like, see what schools look like, normal stuff you do before moving. She was not in favor of waiting since, allegedly, they need her answer by October. I have no desire to divorce, but I am a child of divorce and was raised by my dad. Overall, his outlook on divorce has always been that there's no point fighting if the person has already checked out. If my wife wants out, I will respect that. My wife has only been a stay-at-home parent for around 5 years. She worked when we had our firstborn and well into the pregnancy of our second. She took maternity leave, then went back to work. A few months after her return, she was passed over for a project/contract she did the legwork to secure, which led her to quit and stay home with the kids. Our kids have been in daycare, under grandparents' care. My mom took 2 years to help with our firstborn, and her parents took time off for our second. Our second has been in academic daycare, as she puts it, since they were 3. So it's not like she doesn't get breaks or is always with the children alone. My hours can be chaotic, but I made her well aware of this when we started to date and progress. When we started to date, I was already vested in our community. My gut tells me she is going to take the job, and yes, it possibly will lead to divorce. If that is the case, given how much traveling she will be doing, I suspect I would be granted primary custody. I would not take child support from her, I have no desire or need for it. Sorry for the stream of consciousnesses. It is slightly disjointed because this is a frustrating position to be in. I have no desire to be in this position, but I have other responsibilities I cannot just drop without proper notice. If it comes to divorce, that is the way it played out, and you just roll with it. As my parents told me, I will tell my kids. Just because they were no longer together does not mean either of them loved me any less. Granted, it was not a cross-country thing in our case. My parents lived blocks away from one another. It was a pretty easy transition on my part. I hope we can do the same for our kids if need be. The deal is far worse than I thought, but it is a small startup thing with a small team. They won the project since they took a huge cut on their profits, so pay is actually a lot less than half of what I make. More like 1/3 of what I make, if that. So I can see how she cannot afford to cover any shared expenses. She probably will barely be able to cover her own expenses. We will see, but all signs point to her taking the job, and we will just adjust. If divorce happens, it happens. That is life. I do love my wife, but she is her own person with free will. /relevant comments. Commenter. So she wants to move across the country to take a job that wouldn't even sustain her alone? Ops response. She will barely be able to sustain herself, allegedly just a temporary thing until they establish themselves as a firm or company first. Commenter 2. If she takes the job, just be careful. See a lawyer about protecting assets in case of divorce, because my guess is she will be by herself, across the country, no kids. It's like the old saying, when the cat's away, the mice will play. Ops response. If it comes to that, I would not fight it. I will give her half of what she is entitled to. I would probably also just buy her out of the house. Not going to sweat the little things. She clearly does not like it here. She wants more, that is fine. Commenter 3. What are your hours now, and what will they be after you expand your clinic? You said your hours were already chaotic, so I'm just curious. Ops response. Outside of my mandated hospital shifts, I am home no later than 7, so around 7 to 7. Once they go to sleep, I may respond to patient messages and review and update notes from 12 to 2 once a week. Sometimes I do work weekends since some of my patients are working parents, so that is the only time they can come in. But that is like 8 to 11 a.m. I only have a handful of weekend patients. That is a once a month thing. Edit, I know it is less than ideal, but I have my reasons for going this far. My grandfather had MS, and it was rough for him. Downvoted commenter 4. Can I ask you what she gave up when you were in med school? Did she support the house, work full-time to make sure the bills were paid? Maybe it's her turn. I know plenty of places are looking for your specialty. While it won't be easy, maybe it's her chance to do something new. Ops response. We were friends when I was in medical school, not dating. She did not quit her job until our second child was born, and even that was after a year or so. Leaving my obligations on such short notice is not possible, and it is far from professional. For us to move, I would need at minimum a year. Our kids have been in daycare since they were 3, and we had grandparent support for each child. She is not isolated or anything. Yes, I understand she wants a professional career, but this job, by all metrics, is a bad deal. Commenter 5. I would reconsider child support when the time comes. Your children are young. If you take the child support and do something toward their future, investments or such, it could dramatically change their lives. Regardless of how much you earn, save, etc., with young children, it seems like there will be many challenges that we didn't have to face, and a bit extra may make an enormous difference in their lives and future. Ops response. It may be ego or pride, but if we divorce over this, I will not request child support and will let her use that money how she sees fit. Hopefully, she would do what is best for our kids. I don't want to take money from her if we separate, especially when she claims she could not afford it. I would want to limit my interactions with her as much as I can. If she does not pay, I don't want to have to chase her, request hearings, or deal with her possible adjustments. Thankfully, I've been saving for our kids from day one. I will consult my attorney if it does come to that, though. Second update 11 days later. This will be my last update, and it was a hard one to make. I appreciate the feedback and suggestions, especially the one mentioning looking at adjacent states. While some will say my priorities are skewed, our children don't want to move, and I have close ties to the community. I do feel I have a responsibility to my patients and students. I know for some, such commitments seem fleeting, but for those with MS, it takes a long time to find a doctor they are comfortable with, and that is important, especially with such an unpredictable condition. I run local support groups, hold information seminars, and take part in trials for new treatments. I'm currently about to start our own stem cell therapy trial for those with more active and progressive progression that has been resistant to other therapies. The main goal is to get information, but also to provide individuals a means to get access to this treatment that already shows promise. However, it is expensive. All of that would be moot if our kids did not want to stay. I get it, for some, kids don't have a say, but they are an active part of our family, and their opinion does matter. Now, for the claims I am uncaring, I do care and love my wife, but I also feel a relationship is not something you fight for. Either it works or it does not. Fighting to prove how deeply you care or love someone is weird. Who am I to try and sway or change someone's mind? She wants to go. That is her prerogative. So, long story short, she did take the job. As for divorce, she does not want a divorce, but I am on the fence. I spoke with my parents and in-laws, and they do agree what she is doing makes zero sense. But my wife can be stubborn. So, as my father-in-law put it, once she makes up her mind, nothing will change it. Your only options are to go with it and be a safety net for if she fails. He does agree, statistically, she will fail. I don't want to be some fallback plan for if stuff goes south. Her plan for the kids is for them to stay with me, and she comes over for major holidays and 2 weeks in the summer. Based on expenses, she will need some additional support. Rent will be around $1,750, not counting utilities and other costs. Her projected take-home will be around $3.5 thousand. So, the more she talks about this plan, the worse it seems. To help, I offered to cover 6 months' rent, but most likely this will lead to our separation, at the very least. She is slightly upset that I am willing to hire a nanny now that she is leaving, but I explained hiring a nanny when she was not working and our kids have been in academic daycare, as she likes to put it. Why exactly would we need a nanny? I reminded her she willfully left her job, and I did support that choice because that is what she wanted to do. Either way, I still have not broken the news to the kids. They do know she was thinking of taking a job and may be far away for a time. I spoke with an attorney, and I am going to hold off on it because everything the kids know is here, and they have an established route and support system. They highly doubt she will try to take them. So overall, I am going to try this LDR thing, but I don't know. A part of me does feel like she is just using me, because I highly doubt she would make this move if she did not have some level of support. Even her father said as much. At the end of the day, maybe she wants me to fight for our marriage. But the way I see it, is a marriage worth keeping if you need to fight for it? I love her and do not want her to go, but if she feels she must, then she must. I am not going to sit here and pretend her happiness is dependent on me or our kids. She is a beautiful person, and it would be egotistical of me to think she will not find another person who is more in step with her desires. I think we will be fine no matter what happens. I am prepared to buy her out of the house at market value, we'll split what needs to be split, and call it a day. We will co-parent the best we can. I do not hate her or anything. She currently does not like her current life, and that is fine. Maybe I am just a weird guy, but I don't see any point in therapy because the fact she wants to do this means it means that much to her. Facts are facts. If she was thinking of the kids or our marriage, she would not even consider this as a viable option, let alone take the offer. If divorce ends up happening, I spoke with my lawyer, and he told me it would be up to me to request it. It is not automatically awarded during the custody portion. I most likely will not request it and hope she does what is best for our children when it comes to saving for higher education or future expenses like a house or whatever. Thanks again for the feedback. Our family will be fine. Top/relevant comments. Commenter. Wait, her take-home pay is $3.5K a month? She's essentially leaving her family forever for a job paying like $60-70K a year? That's like an average to slightly below average pay for an entry-level recent engineering graduate. What the hell, Lamau? When I first read this, I was assuming she was leaving for a huge, exciting opportunity. But that's just crazy. To me, that seems like it's not really about a career at all. She just wants out of her current life. Wild. Commenter 2. We DM'd a wee bit after your previous post. I'm sorry it's come to this. You tried to explore loads of other options with her that would feed her professional desires while not uprooting your whole family. I think you did your best. I appreciate the struggles of female STEM professionals and understand the opportunity she was offered was a good one. But she just didn't seem to be willing to consider anything else, even in the face of leaving her husband and kids. I think there's something deep going on there that isn't about the job at all. Ultimately, this turned out to be an ultimatum on her part, one that wanted an abrupt destabilization of your entire family, from out of the blue. She made the decision she made. I hope you somehow managed to avoid divorce, but whatever drove her to decide this seems to be stronger than her desire to be with her husband and children. Doesn't strike me as something easily resolved. Good luck with everything, mate. Commenter 3. Bro, you're a simp. She doesn't love you. She doesn't want the life you have. She doesn't want the kids. What she does want is your money. She gets to live a single life far away while you help foot the bill. Are you really this dumb? File for divorce. Establish custody now. Don't drag your feet on this. I'd say you really should update, but I get the feeling you really won't update because you don't want to return later and have it be a situation where you got screwed over big time, because you didn't listen to common sense advice. Ops response. You may call it a simp, I call it just being me. I will file when I feel it is right. I spoke with an attorney, and while nothing is a guarantee, my attorney mentioned that given her circumstances, her taking the kids and running makes it likely I would win. The same goes for custody. Sure, things can go south, but I am not going to put our kids through a messy divorce. My logic is, I will help her get established, and if I have to pay spousal support for a time, I will. She is the mother of my children, and I don't want her to struggle so far beyond her means. I want our kids to have a relationship with their mother if they so desire. As my dad used to say, the best thing you can do is live your best life and be kind throughout the entire process. She probably is taking advantage, but that is on her and not me. I will do what makes me feel most comfortable, and that is this. I am not looking to cause a conflict when one is not needed. Life is way too short to put that much energy into something like this.